The men hired to protect him were the ones planning to kill him. And the only person who figured it out was a complete stranger, who had absolutely no reason to save his life. This is the story of Daniel Mercer, a self-made billionaire, who built his empire from nothing. Construction, real estate, hotels. The man had it all. Private jet, penthouse in the city, security detail that followed him everywhere. From the outside, Daniel looked untouchable. But the thing about being untouchable is, it makes you stop paying attention. Daniel had worked with his head of security, Marcus, for 6 years. 6 years of trust. 6 years of loyalty. Or at least, that's what he thought. Marcus had handpicked the entire security team himself. And Daniel never questioned it. Not once. Because why would he? These were his guys. His people. The men he paid to take a bullet for him. That was his biggest mistake. Now let me take you back to a Tuesday morning in Guangzhou, China. Daniel was there for a business deal. A massive hotel acquisition worth over $200 million. His team had arranged everything. Car, route, meetings. All of it handled by Marcus and his crew. Daniel came down from his hotel room at 8 in the morning. Dressed sharp, coffee in hand, completely relaxed. The black SUV was already waiting outside. Marcus stood by the door, just like always. Everything looked normal. But 60 feet away, a young woman named Lin Mei was mopping the lobby floor. Lin Mei was 26 years old. She worked as a hotel cleaner, had been doing it for 3 years. She barely spoke any English. Nobody paid attention to her. Nobody ever does, right? She was just part of the background, invisible, except Lin Mei had grown up in Beijing, studied Mandarin her whole life, and could understand every single word being spoken around her. About 10 minutes before Daniel came downstairs, she had been cleaning near the side corridor when she heard 2 of the security guards talking, not to her, not around her, just to each other, in Mandarin, completely convinced that nobody nearby could understand them. And what they said stopped her cold. One guard said, and I'm translating here, he gets in the car. We take the south road. The exchange happens before noon. Make sure he doesn't have his phone. The other one laughed quietly and said, Marcus already handled the phone. This is the easiest job we've ever done. Lin Mei stood completely still. Her hand was still holding the mop. Her heart was going 100 miles an hour. She didn't know who they were talking about. She didn't know what the exchange meant exactly. But she knew enough. Someone was getting in a car they weren't supposed to get into. She looked up and saw the guards, walking toward the lobby entrance, toward a tall man in a suit carrying a coffee cup. She had maybe 30 seconds. Now here's where most people would freeze. Think about it. She's a cleaner. He's a billionaire. She doesn't speak his language. His security team is standing right there. If she's wrong, she looks insane. If she causes a scene, she loses her job. She has every reason in the world to just keep mopping and mind her business. But she didn't. She walked quickly across the lobby, stepped right in front of Daniel and held up her hand. Daniel stopped, confused. One of the guards immediately moved toward her, but she stepped back and looked Daniel directly in the eyes. She pointed at the SUV outside. Then she shook her head, slowly, clearly. Daniel stared at her. "What's going on?" he asked. She didn't understand the words, but she understood the question. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands and opened a translation app. She typed fast, showed him the screen. "The men with you," I heard them speaking. "They are planning something bad. Do not get in that car." The lobby went quiet. Marcus stepped forward immediately. "Sir, she's just a cleaner. She doesn't know what she's saying. We need to get moving. You have a meeting in 40 minutes. And here's the moment. Right here. This is where everything came down to one decision." Daniel looked at Marcus. Then he looked at Lin Mei. She wasn't angry. She wasn't crazy. She was terrified. Genuinely terrified. The kind of scared you can't fake. Daniel took a breath and said, "We're not leaving yet." Marcus pushed back hard. Said they were wasting time. Said the girl was confused. Probably misheard something. Probably trying to get attention or money. He was calm about it, which honestly made it worse. Because panicking would have been normal. That kind of smooth, controlled calm, that's practiced. Daniel asked one of his other guards, a guy named Ray who he'd hired independently, not through Marcus, to step outside and check the vehicle. Ray found it in 4 minutes. A GPS tracker that Daniel's team had never installed, hidden under the rear wheel arch. And the original driver, the one Daniel's assistant had booked directly, he was sitting tied up in a supply room 2 floors below. Someone had switched him out that morning. The exchange Lin Mei had heard about? Daniel was going to be handed off to a rival group, people connected to the deal he was trying to close. Competitors who would rather kidnap him and blow up the acquisition than let it happen. Marcus had been paid $3 million to make it happen. Daniel called local authorities immediately. Marcus and 2 of the guards were arrested right there in the hotel. The rival group connected to the plot was tracked down within 48 hours. The deal, surprisingly, still closed, because once the people behind the kidnapping were exposed, their leverage disappeared completely. And Lin Mei? Daniel found out her name through the hotel manager. He came back to the lobby that same evening, after everything had settled down, and he sat across from her at a small table near the entrance. He had a translator with him this time. He asked her why she did it, why she stepped in when she had nothing to gain and everything to lose. She thought about it for a moment. Then she said, "Because I would want someone to do it for me." Daniel sponsored her education. She went on to study international business. Last anyone checked, she was working as a liaison for a logistics company operating between China and Europe. And Daniel, he rebuilt his security team from scratch. No more outsourcing that trust. No more assuming that a paycheck equals loyalty. Here's the thing that sticks with me about this story. Daniel had money. He had resources. He had a team of professionals whose entire job was to keep him safe. And all of that meant nothing, because the threat was already inside. We spend so much time protecting ourselves from the outside that we forget to look at who we've handed the keys to. Trust is not something you give because someone's been around long enough. Trust is something you watch people earn, over and over again, in the small moments, not just the big ones. Marcus didn't wake up one morning and become a traitor. The signs were probably there. The small things, the tiny inconsistencies. But Daniel never looked, because looking felt like it meant he didn't trust his own team. And that's the trap. The most dangerous thing isn't the enemy you can see. It's the one standing right next to you, holding the door open, telling you everything is fine. Lin Mei had nothing. No status. No connection to him. No reason to get involved. And she was the only one in that entire building who actually had his back. Sometimes the person who saves your life doesn't look the way you'd expect. Sometimes they're mopping a floor 60 feet away, holding a translation app. Absolutely terrified, and doing it anyway.